Hello folks, and welcome back to another model train review. Today we are going to take a look at a model from a manufacturer that has remained untouched by me until just recently. We are going to be taking a look at the brand new EMD GP35 locomotives from Broadway Limited Imports, specifically one painted for the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railway. Of course, before we get started, it is disclaimer time.
We don't really do much reading.
The GP35 is a 4-axle 2500 horsepower diesel-electric locomotive manufactured by the Electromotive Division of General Motors between 1963 and 1966. Over its production lifetime, 1,333 locomotives would be produced and would be some of the last locomotives that EMD would make with the 567 prime mover. The GP35 lasted within the ranks of the Class 1 railroads for many decades, and some still do to this day, although most of them have found life on regionals and short lines, which is where we come to the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railroad. The GP35 is the most ubiquitous 4-axle locomotive on the Wheeling and Lake Erie, as they rostered 15 of them, 14 of which came from the Southern Railway as evident by the high short hood, and one came from the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, and all but one proudly serve the Wheeling and Lake Erie to this very day. Broadway Limited announced their second run of GP35s in the fall of 2024, and have recently just shipped in the summer of 2025. Road names available in this run are as follows: Erie-Lackawanna, Canadian National, Pennsylvania Railroad, Reading, Conrail, Southern Pacific, Norfolk and Western, and Wheeling and Lake Erie. Through various online retailers, 4 custom runs have also been announced in this release, that being Wheeling and Lake Erie's Ohio Bicentennial and Kodachrome paint schemes, the Ann Arbor Railroad, as well as a painted and unlettered version. Broadway Limited offers the GP35 with 2 different configurations, one as a DCC ready model under their Stealth series, as well as a DCC and Sound model through their Paragon 4 series, mine of which coming from the Stealth series being a DCC ready model. As we go in for a closer look, here is the pilot of the GP35. The orange color on the front of the pilot really reveals the separately applied details very nicely, like the MU hoses with the silvered end tips, as well as the train line hose with the silvered end tips. You got a metal coupler in between the MU hoses and a separately applied coupler cup bar above the coupler. Coming to the front of the GP35, the most interesting thing to look at is the orange safety striping on the short hood. We also have orange accented painting on the steps, separately applied grab irons going up the short hood, in addition to the bell mounted on the short hood, which is unique to the Wheeling and Lake Erie and Norfolk and Western variants. Other details you will find are the molded in deck plates on the front of the deck, the Sinclair antenna behind the bell, as well as the lamp-style lights that illuminate the walkway, specifically unique to those built with the high short hood. It is also important to mention while we're here on this side, the lighting package this locomotive comes equipped with. All lit by LEDs, you got a headlight, lit number boards, lit class lights, as well as the ditch lights that are mounted on the deck of the front walkway. Going down below, we can see right here the nicely detailed truck side frames, which are the Alco Type B trucks. Also in this area, you'll find legible signage reading important information where appropriate, the yellow dashed sill stripe with the orange background, as well as red accented painting for the fuel sight glass and fuel cutoff switch. Lastly, you also got the molded in battery box doors with its details as well. In the fuel tank area, it's very modestly detailed with the fuel tank and the air retention tanks above it, but you also get to see the red accented painting that was out of focus in the previous scene. Now we are going to move down the conductor side of the locomotive. Starting around the cab area, you got the lamp-style walkway lights as mentioned earlier, a molded-in brake latch close to the deck with safety treading on all of the decks, nice decals for the numbers below the windows, as well as separately applied details all over the place like the windshield wipers, windscreens, sunshades, and the antenna on the roof. I know you can't see it from this angle, but there is a detailed cab interior behind the windows with the control stand and a little crew figure at the control stand on the engineer side, which you'll see in a little bit. It is also important to mention with the lighting package that this locomotive comes equipped with, there is an actual light inside the cab interior, which is a nice touch. I haven't seen this feature on an HO scale locomotive in quite some time. The last time I saw a feature like an illuminated cab interior on an HO locomotive was my Mark MP36 that was produced by Trueline Trains back in the day. Moving along down the conductor side, we have the blower duct right behind the cab, in addition to molded-in grills for the dynamic brake section. Other details you will find are doors and latches molded into the ABS plastic body, in addition to the awesome Wheeling and Lake Erie text proudly displayed on the side too. As we move close to the rear of the long hood, we got more molded in details like doors and latches, as well as the chicken wire style grills for the radiator section. Other details you will find are the sturdy plastic handrails, painted in black, as well as orange for the corners where the steps are. You also got the rear truck with its details, and accented painting and legible where necessary. The rear of the long hood is also really nicely detailed with the awesome Wheeling and Lake Erie style safety stripes, the orange pilot face with the separately applied MU hose and trainline hoses, the coupler cup bar, as well as the lighting package with the rear headlight, number boards, class lights, and ditch lights, all of which are lit by LEDs. The engineer's side of the GP35 is fairly similar to the conductor's side with a few minor differences. Remember earlier when I mentioned that there is a detailed cab interior behind the windows? It's much more noticeable here as you can see the crew figure behind the control stand. Now we are going to get into the roof section of this locomotive. Around the cab area, it's very modestly detailed as there's not a lot up here aside from the mount for the bell, as well as the radio antennas on the short hood, which were really nicely detailed. Behind the cab is where things get a little more busy. You got rivets and latches molded into the ABS plastic body where appropriate, as well as some separately applied lift rings. Other details include molded-in screens right above the dynamic brake section, the exhaust stack, as well as a separately applied horn, which I believe is a Nathan P5, but if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments section below. As we move towards the rear on the roof, you got more molded-in details like the rivets and separately applied details like the lift rings and the sand fill cap. The most important detail aside from the horn in this specific area are the fans for the dynamic brakes and the radiators, which are clearly visible as seen from this overhead view. Alrighty folks, that pretty much covers all of the details that the new Broadway Limited GP35s have to offer. When it comes to the best feature of the GP35, there were multiple things I could have gone with, but the feature that I'm gonna go with here is the Stealth Series, which is kind of a more broad term. I heard from my friends on numerous different occasions that the Broadway Limited Paragon 4 electronics package is not the most reliable DCC package that you can get. The Stealth Series config basically gives modelers the option to add a different sound decoder, which was an option that wasn't available previously. The installation was fairly easy with a 21-pin dummy plug, in addition to speakers pre-installed from the factory. This is relevant to me as by the time this review video gets posted, this GP35 would have been outfitted with an ESU Locksound V5 decoder. With the details covered, let's hook it up to a train and take it for a spin. However, I want to show you how smoothly and quietly this locomotive ran as a street DC model before showing off the ESU lock sound decoder the locomotive has now.
Yeah. Okay. Good sound. Yeah. We're gonna get a newer one that actually works a little bit better and it isn't as beat up. Yeah, but it's good sound working. Do it up there.
Alrighty folks, that pretty much covers it for this review video. The GP35 by itself was cool enough, but the addition of an ESU lock sound decoder made it 10 times cooler. If you're interested in picking one of these up for yourself, the retail price for the Stealth models are $249.99 and $374.99 for Paragon 4 equipped variants. I got mine for $225.99 at a local train store, that being the train station off of Indianola Avenue in Columbus, Ohio. By the time this video gets released, Broadway Limited announced a new run of GP35s for the next year, which include 3 more Wheeling and Lake Erie variants, specifically some of the special painted ones by way through custom runs. Could another Wheeling and Lake Erie GP35 be added to the collection? Well, only time will tell. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out some other ones of mine. Leave a like or a comment down below to share your thoughts, subscribe if you're new, and tap the notifications bell if you want to be notified when a new video gets posted here on the channel, just like this. Until next time, this is All Ohio Railfan, signing off.